No. Honestly,
we're live because he put you live just to tell you.
Shithead.
He's a little shit dickhead, isn't he?
Well, you know what? Tourists need to take care of the Greek
Oh,
islands.
I knew he was going to come on.
Thank you. Shut up, you. Happy birthday. I'm only come on to say happy birthday to the boys.
Well, then I shouldn't run. Then I'm not going to run the intro then because I don't want to take 30 of your.
For me. Don't run no intro for me.
I don't want to run 30 of my 45 seconds that we have with you, Kev, by doing that stupid intro of me riding on a dolphin. So welcome to the Gooners podcast.
You know what? I knew you were going to make an appearance too.
We are live. We've been live. We've been live since.
Don't you think it's really funny that Amanda and I both had a hunch that Kevin was going to make an appearance, which is why we didn't text Kevin to say, "Hey, do you want to pop in and say hi?" Because
of course I asked. It's not a birthday. My birthday 3 years ago was spent with Kevin.
I'm already bored that it's your birthday. Andy, can we talk about your birthday?
Andy, happy birthday, Andy. Happy birthday,
Hold
Mike.
on a second. This coming from the person that spent her 50th celebrating an entire year, and you're bored of Mike's birthday in 1 minute.
It's my birthday. Everyone love me. It's my birthday.
You're 50. You're 50. Mate,
I am 50.
Mate, you look like shit.
Thank you.
No, not you.
Not you, mate. Mate, Jesus. Let's clarify that before we go any further. But anyway,
I'm 50, 51. He is 48.
Yeah. Yes. No, he's 57. I think 2 years ago, Mike gave me a great birthday gift where he had Kev FaceTime me.
That's right.
And that was absolutely superb. I was talking about that yesterday with a friend of mine who's a diehard Everton supporter. And I was like, Kev FaceTime me, wish me a happy birthday once.
Except you didn't answer the first 8 times we tried you.
I was driving in the mountains. I know.
He was driving.
Hold on, was I on that?
You guys were at the pub together?
We was at the pub.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were at the Pins that night.
We tried to get him one night, didn't we? And we couldn't get Andy.
I talked to you a couple times on FaceTime, Amanda, when Mike was in town for sure. But Kev, you're a legend. Thank you for that.
You're
thank you for joining us today too.
No, listen, as I said to Mike that I'll come on quickly, tell you happy birthday, wish you all the best, and I'll leave you in the capable hands of these two beautiful ladies, man.
Please don't do that.
Oh, we've been on the house today.
No, don't worry. I'll leave it in your hands. There's the Greek flag. Go on, Sophie. Sophie. Oh, listen, you have a good one. Make sure you have a great day, guys.
Hey, Kevin,
why are you not staying?
Because we did.
Excuse me. My day started at 5 o'clock this morning.
So did mine, earlier than yours. But...
No, it didn't start. Maybe you got up then. I was working at 5. There's a difference.
Bye, Kev. Bye. Bye.
Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome.
Always a pleasure.
Look after yourself, Andy. See you, Soul.
Bye, Super Kev.
Hey, so where is
PG?
Yes.
So
see you later.
See you later, Kev.
See ya.
What an intro. What a funky intro.
Sorry, Amanda. I didn't want to cut Kev off, but I have no problem doing that to you. So.
Hey, question.
Of course, I'm not a legend.
Why is Sophie dressed like Sherlock Holmes today?
So guess what?
Solving mysteries.
I am. I'm solving mysteries. It's the Friday fan forum mystery on Highbury Squad and the Gooners podcast. And I'm a Sherlock. I'm a Greek Sherlock, as you can see. Ha. But no, do you guys remember the band Curiosity Killed the Cat?
Yeah.
I'm like 5.
I was listening to a couple of their tunes, Amanda. And do you remember he used to wear those cool hats?
What, the one that he's got on right now?
it's more like my one, a bit bigger on the top,
Sophie.
like that. But I'm just not. I know. Oh my god,
No,
he looks like
it is that size. It's
he
just
looks
that
like a
Mike's head is
character from a
unusually
gay
large.
burlesque show. I mean,
No, you know
Like,
what
we got to
he
strip
looks like a
again.
drunk Frenchman. Honestly,
I-
it's embarrassing.
I ordered my my monocle on Amazon, and it's late. I wanted it for my
Amazon.
birthday. So
Amazon.
Why are you wearing your stripper hat again?
this is my grandfather's hat.
What's your
Oh.
This
what's
is
your
one of his
stripper name?
most treasured
Shabbat
things
shalom, babe.
that he
So
passed
your
on.
so your grandfather was a stripper too?
You son of
Oh my life! Don't go there, Andy.
Oh god. So this is I was praying.
Wait,
for
what
this
is your
show.
porn name? What's everyone's porn name? Is
I
it
haven't
your
got
My
parents'
porn name is
Apparently, it's your first pet's name
and
and
the first street you lived on?
I didn't have a pet, so what can
my
I
porn
do?
name,
Buster
my porn name is
Birchwood.
Mike
I
Feinberg.
No,
I'm
no,
actually
no.
happy for you to change the rules there, because my porn name it was always your pet's name and your last name, and mine was Buster Young.
Yeah, we need to do- I mean, wow.
I haven't got one. I want a porn name. Someone
So,
give me
My
a
porn
porn
name was
name.
Buster
your
Birchwood.
first, do your first boyfriend's name and the first street you lived on.
My first boyfriend's name was Andy, and
My wife
And the
my
street
wife
you lived
texted
on?
me today. My wife texted me today and just said, "It's your husband's birthday." That was the text from my wife to me. I was like,
She
"Yeah, I
knows.
know." I was
that's
like, "I've already
nice.
talked to him." Yeah.
Nice,
your
nice.
wife
Look,
texted me something else today, so I'm
Are we
Oh.
actually doing anything or just talking nonsense?
wait,
for the
mine's
next-
Bella. Mine's Bella Grenoble.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Oh,
Yeah,
So what
Isn't
is it?
that exciting,
What is it?
is
Your pet's name and then the street you lived on?
Yeah. My first street I lived on was Grenoble Gardens.
Mine was Sandy Ridge Court. That doesn't really actually before that, although I don't remember it. I think I was 2 when we moved out. I did live on Newcastle Drive. Which
Wait,
is,
but
What's
what's
your
your
pet's
first?
name?
What's your pet's first name?
I've had one pet in my lifetime, and it was Zircon.
So Zircon Sandy Ridge.
Zircon
Sound like-
Sandy Ridge.
You sound like
Yes.
Zoolander's lost cousin, right?
That is
Classic Jewish
that
porn
just
name.
doesn't smell like porn, and I know what porn smells like. So it just doesn't really seem like
you
it
will
would
not
be,
be forgiven, Michael. I'm telling you. Him above will not forgive you.
Hi,
I'm
Tony
above.
and Vinny.
I
I
think
don't
your
know.
best porn name, Mike, is Merlot Mike.
Hello.
Despite the fact I don't drink Merlot.
Why isn't that clip in your intro? The spitting of the was that Pinot Grigio? I don't know what it was you were drinking, but you
No,
just
it was this. Was that in my intro? Was that in the intro?
no, but it should be, is what I'm saying.
No, we got to put it in there. The music
You are
choice is awful.
mental.
I love. Well, you wouldn't understand the background behind that music, Andy, because you for some reason rightfully think that people who watch wrestling are virgins, but yeah. My favorite part of that video, and I'll play it as many times as we have to, is Owen's reaction. It was just hilarious.
there has to be background behind that too, which we'll not get into now. But Mike had basically told me not to mention.
We were
a few
working on
things.
avoiding a subject in that podcast.
Yeah, and Mike talked to me at least 5 times within that day, and then pulled up both of them within 10 minutes. It was fucking.
It's so good. It's so good. I love it. It's brilliant.
Anyway, welcome to the Gooners podcast.
Yes, we brought on some actually successful podcasters to bring
Owen and
some
I are on every
professionals.
week. I don't know what you're talking about.
So this is my big fat Andy and my big fat Greek. I'm the big fat. Sophie's the Greek. We're all Gooners. Birthday podcast. Give it to us, Soph. You look
that
like
was
you're
my
about to do
Spartan
think
my
you
Spartan
should
post
sing.
for you.
Happy
I thought you were
birthday
about
in
to do
Greek,
the,
Soph.
Is that a real sword?
Yes, it is. I bought it off. I got it
Pro-
on an
prove it to
eBay.
us by
It's a
cutting your
samurai
nose off.
sword.
Is it really
I'll
sharp?
cut your nose off in a minute, mister.
Ooh, that's racist.
Yeah, no, it really is. It's a real proper
Did you say
sword.
that's racist?
Oh, god damn. Don't joke with me.
Oh my god. I'm
We're
not
in
even having a drink.
rocky territory already.
Yeah.
Oh,
Damn, Soph.
God. I mean, I haven't had a drink yet. You guys are way ahead, aren't you? Time zone wise. I know Amanda hasn't had a lick, but What's in that? That's not coffee, Andy. Stop
No,
it.
it's just water.
Oh,
Me and you, Andy, we're water buddies, aren't we?
We are. Stay hydrated, folks.
I don't have anything to.
My goal.
Although I have a feeling Tony might bring me something enjoyable in a minute.
I've heard that I'm getting my vaccine tomorrow, and everyone that's gotten it says stay hydrated. So
You're getting microchipped, you fucking sheep.
that's fine. I'm
Sorry.
okay with that. I'm okay with that.
I'm just joking.
At least somebody will know where I am from day to day. But yeah, I'm getting mine on Tuesday. I could have had it today, but I didn't want to be
I
sick.
haven't got mine yet, and I'm older
You just
than
got to
all
call
of
the
you.
government and say, "Hey, I'm with the Gooners pod," and they're like, "Come get vaccinated."
Excuse me. Time out. Someone in chat has said something really interesting, and I'm curious. I'd like to ask them. I'm sure Amanda's going to be curious too. Sophie looks more like the one from Steptoe and Son.
I'm not even on the chat. How do you even get the chat
Go
on
to the
here? I don't even
comments.
know.
What do you mean? The old
You
dad
have to subscribe to
in,
the podcast to get the chat.
in the original
Oh,
British
shut
You
up.
version
do look like the old dad.
of Steptoe and Son. Oh my god, that's like Jamie Vardy. Jamie Vardy's compared to that dude. Or are you talking about the American version of Stanford
It's
and
got to be
Son?
the British version.
I mean, either
You
way,
look-
it's not good. It's not good for me. It's not. It's either way, I don't win.
I'm going to the show on YouTube. Hold on, let's have a
Look,
look.
I mean, look at me. I'm a Spartan. I'm ready to go. I love it when we don't have to host and we could just do stupid
whatever.
shit.
This is why we brought Owen in, because I love it when we don't have to host.
I'm still trying to figure out which one of the three of us is hosting here.
Me. I never
was
get
that-
to host. I'm going to host.
It was never intended to be an organized show tonight, but what
You're
I
going to say an
did want,
orgasm.
what I did want though for the birthday show was a win, and we got
Yay. Oh, bye,
Yeah.
Andy.
one. Wow,
Don't
Thanks
worry,
for coming.
I actually
This is
am
Andy
highly
of-
organized.
this is Andy of the last 3 months. He comes, he goes, he comes, he goes. So
I was basically right. I think a good way to kick this off, because I've just been listening to your brilliant podcast with Hugh, Izzy, and Kev earlier on, girls,
Oh.
and I sort of had to pause it right in the midst of a quite a heated argument. So I think the best way to start this, because it was a positive night, is to get all the negativity out of the way at the start. So, Sophie,
Mhm.
the mistake from Leno, from Ceballos, from Arteta, whichever one you want to subscribe to.
I blame Ouzo.
These we're often our own worst enemies at times, and we all almost always, when we fall short, it's almost our own personal individual mistakes. There's been a lot said in defense of Leno and defense of Ceballos and defense of Arteta, but who in that situation do you sort of point the finger at and say that was their big mistake? Because that's twice within the space of 2 games that situation seems to have sort of caused trouble.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate because we have mentally impotent players, players that can't be engaged in a match for 90 minutes plus. That is a huge concern and has been for years, because that's now the culture we've developed, which is in a sense institutionalized. And no matter which manager comes in, it's going to take a recycling of players to evolve and change that. But with that said, if I make a mistake at work, I'm culpable for it. And when you're making a mistake at that level and there's so much at stake, it's a very difficult pill to swallow for Arsenal fans, especially considering we need all the help we can get in a season where we've been really poor. Xhaka was at fault, but I also believe Leno has been at fault. And I think at some point, despite what the manager is saying about playing out the back, and that's the tempo and that's how we have to build the game, you have to also use your own wits. And as a goalkeeper, you need to be a bit more vocal. You need to own that area. And I think as much as Ceballos made a terrible mistake trying to dribble his way out of it, and Xhaka took a poor touch, Leno on both occasions had the opportunity to hoof it out, and he didn't do that. And my argument with Kev this week, before I just hand it back to you, was why do we consistently make these mistakes? Why aren't we working on these mentally impotent moments in training? What is it that isn't happening? And why is the manager continuing to pick players who are making these mistakes? At this point in the league, we've got nothing to lose. The Europa League is where it is the most important. And once again, he trusted a player that made 2 major mistakes against Benfica, chose to bring him on instead of a vibrant young Brazilian kid who, for some reason, isn't getting any game. So there's a juxtaposition to Arteta revolving the team over the last few games, and also still making some dodgy decisions that has me in that corner of I have to be able to say what I see. And, as well as we've been doing, the league doesn't lie, but also in Europa League, at least we've managed to find some way to overcome adversity and fight back.
Yeah, and see, I think I'm in a very similar mindset to you, Sophie, and I think, again, I'll make this clear, I have in previous weeks, but I'm still very middle ground in terms of Arteta. I've never been more confused about a footballing decision in my whole life as I am over Mikel Arteta. But going back to this situation in isolation, and I'll let whoever wants to jump in after this because I'm going to rant on in this one. So I've always had an issue with Bird Leno. I've always had an issue with him with the ball at his feet. I don't think he's overly convincing with the ball at his feet, and I think he has too much confidence within himself for the ability that he has. My problem with both those situations is not the choice of pass. I think Ceballos was under far too much pressure to give him the ball in that situation. But not only that, how obvious it was what he was going to do. There was no disguise. He completely telegraphed exactly what he was going to do, and it was the most readable thing I've ever seen in a football match. Also, I think that Bird Leno has persisted to try to play out from the back too much. I have said in previous weeks as well that I think there needs to be variant. There needs to be a variety. We talk about Man City and Liverpool playing out from the back, but they also, Ederson pings the ball, Alisson pings the ball. And I think that when you look back under both Unai Emery and Freddie Ljungberg, he always persisted to play out with his feet. Yet when Emi Martinez came in, and I don't want to start that argument between the two of them, it's just as an example, but when Emi Martinez came in, he did start to put the ball long a lot of the time. And I never seen Unai Emery, I never seen Freddie Ljungberg, and I never seen Mikel Arteta go mental on the sideline, in objection to what he was doing. So for me, this persistence to play out from the back, yes, might come from the manager, but I also think it does come from Bird Leno himself. And I think that that's something that he can be put under the microscope for. Now, an argument that I've heard from numerous people is that, well, Bird Leno is only following instructions. And well, if that is the case, then scrutinise Mikel Arteta, because it obviously isn't worth the risk. I understand people say goals come from it, but a lot of our goals that we concede also come from it too. So I'll open the floor to anybody who wants to come in and think that I'm either maybe being too harsh on Bird Leno or I'm maybe being too harsh on Mikel Arteta.
I think it's only fair to say to both.
Go ahead, but I just want to point out: is it a bad thing to say that I'm uncomfortable with you talking about a German guy claiming he's only following orders? Because that's, I mean, I knew Amanda was not going to like that, but like that. Let's give him some.
When you're a keeper, you're kind of instructed to bark orders at the pitch, right? Because you're seeing everything in front of you. And I said it last week, and I'll say it again. Bird Leno is 100% to blame for those 2 goals because he should never have put the players in those positions. He should have seen what was around them. The touch by Ceballos was awful, and like you said, you could totally tell what he was about to do. And I kind of think Ceballos didn't think the pass was coming to him because he probably looked around as the central midfielder was doing and say, "There's just nowhere for me to go," and then the ball's at his feet. But ultimately, Leno needs to look up and just blast the ball. And then if Arteta's going to get mad at him for that, that's where you go to the video post-match and say, "I didn't see what you're seeing. Like, I cannot play the ball to these players." And I think I read somewhere that the 14 goals we've conceded in 2021, 7 of which have been unforced errors. Like, that's awful. And something needs to be fixed there. And so I put Leno to blame for both the goals.
The other 7 have been VAR. So we've really given up no goals this season, this calendar year. Playing from the back is clearly something that Arteta wants to do. I mean, Emery wanted to do it, and my God, he had Petr Cech as his keeper, who insisted on playing the ball like into his own goal almost. But I'm not steering away from that. We clearly don't have the right people, and we clearly don't have the right kind of intuition in those players to know when to do it and when not to do it. But can I just ask one favor, which is on Thursday next week, when we're protecting a 2-goal lead, when we go through unless somehow we concede 3 goals. We can't lose if we don't give up 3 goals. Can we just hoof the ball down the pitch every single time? Because it may be off plan. It may be not what Arteta wants on a larger scale, but like it reduces our chances of leaking ridiculous goals for one game. And I think that's the game you have to do it. So I would like that.
What about Sunday then? Is that what you want him to do Sunday?
No. I mean, I'm nervous about playing it out of the back on Sunday, but no, I stick with your plan, because Sunday we're not in a game where basically it's an elimination game where we have a 3-goal lead going in, because we do tend to create more when we play that way successfully. That's the thing.
Why does it have to? This is what I'm talking about variety. Why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't it be, okay, you like playing out from the back, do it 75 or 80% of the time, but a bit of variety, because it's very much like a sport that I grew up doing was boxing, and you're often trained not to have any tells. Don't form too much of a repetitive pattern, because that's a tell and you can be countered by it, and it makes you too easy to play against. And that's very much like I say about playing out from the back. Yes, it's good. Yes, I understand, but don't make it predictable. And by God, at least have a bit of disguise on your pass. But I think Amanda, somebody that come under a little bit of heat yesterday, and somebody that I think if he was in Danny Ceballos' situation, there wouldn't have been a mistake, is Thomas Partey. What have you made of him from coming back from the injury and his performance yesterday in particular?
I said on our pod a few hours ago that I do not understand why people are losing their shit over the fact he was substituted. That was planned, has to be planned. You've got to manage him back. You've got to manage that injury. He's not match fit. So we've got Tottenham Sunday. Don't nod your head, Mike.
No, he's nodding at this.
Yeah, I'm nodding at that, and I'm not nodding. I'm shaking my head. No, I agree with you.
I mean, I don't understand what people don't understand about managing injuries and knocks and things like that. We don't know who's carrying what at any time. So when someone gets substituted and you don't want him to go off, there may be a good reason. It may be that he's just been shit, but there may be a good reason for it. But I was very happy that he took Partey and Saka off.
Can I add a counter to that, just to play it well? I'll say I play devil's advocate, but I actually, to an extent, sort of this is my view. I was actually sort of objective against that decision that he made to take Thomas Partey off, because to me, I don't think that we are capable of fully committing to either or to both competitions at the same time. And I think Thomas Partey is massively influential in our system. And I think that was never more evident than yesterday when he was taken off. We just absolutely capitulated. And I think Granit Xhaka went from looking like an absolute world beater next to Thomas Partey to looking like an absolute mess of a footballer.
Yeah, but hold on, Ian. Didn't we win because Partey came off, funny enough? We scored after he went off.
Yeah,
we didn't capitulate.
Can I just say something to like?
And also, can I just finish, Andy? Yeah. 1 second. So he is massively important to Sunday. Don't you want to see him Sunday?
I was about to say, like, and I understand your point of like one competition is over, but every Arsenal fan, every Tottenham fan, when the calendar comes out, there's 2 matches you look for, right? And there's only 2 matches you want to win the entire season, and so. Albeit, like, yeah, we're looking at one competition, but Sunday is a different animal altogether. And if it were maybe, Burnley, maybe he doesn't come off. But I think because it is Tottenham and because of the severity of that match, you have to look at rotation of your squad.
But I see naivety in that decision, because regardless of what it means emotionally to us, the repercussions of if that had went wrong last night, I know I'm saying this in hindsight, but it doesn't make the decision any more right at the time.
But we don't know before the match. They said to Partey, you are going to get 60 to 70 minutes. We want you to give as much as you can.
He got 50.
Right, but we didn't know exactly what the plan was. Like, they could have said to him, we're going to have you come out and play this much, and then we're pulling you regardless of the score.
But why are we discussing this? Because we won when he came off, and it was the right decision. So
what do you think?
Sorry, I'm
I
just
don't really understand.
got a little like my coat on and my scarf.
Can I just defend just before Sophie comes in? Amanda, I made an analogy a couple of weeks back on a podcast with Mike, and what I said was that if I have a family that I have to support, okay, So I've got a wife, I've got a child, I've got a house, I've got bills to pay. If I went in and gambled all my assets in a roulette table and said, I'm going to put all on 20 black, I'm going to put all my assets on 20 black, and I throw it all and it comes in, I'm not a genius because I went and done that. That's a stupid risk regardless of the outcome of that situation. And just because the game was won, and we'll talk about this in more detail later, some of the subs yesterday left me scratching my head, and some of the subs against Burnley as well left me scratching my head too. And maybe this is something to bring in now. Sophie, is there an issue with Mikel Arteta's in-game management? Because I really do see sort of us coming on and a lot of advances in the way that we have been playing and the style of our play. But I still sometimes look like that Lacazette for Odegaard change against Burnley, and then like the Mohamed Elneny one, which again in hindsight looks stupid now, but there is some strange decisions that comes from Mikel Arteta during those matches.
Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that's concerned me the most is the timing of the subs. So when players can truly affect a game, I really don't understand, and I've never been a proponent of giving a player 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I think there's certain players, especially like a Pepe, right? He's going to need 25 minutes to kind of be able to get warmed up, get chances, get into the game. So there's certain decisions on that front, timing wise, that I have huge issue with. And I was honest on our podcast the other night, and I said I had a tweet prepped where I was saying, wow, we're in Athens, we're playing Olympiakos. We need to win the match, and he's going to bring on Elneny. And I was saying to Kev, I'm so grateful I never hit tweet, because the retaliation would have just been too bruising to take. But I admitted it, but it worked. So I think we can look at the season as a whole. In certain games, like against Olympiacos, it looked like a mistake at first, but in the end, he got it right. The subs worked. His timing of everything worked.
Did Elneny come in before the second goal, or was it after the second goal?
He came in
and he scored the third one, right? So
right. But was he in the game? Because if it's 2-1, then I'm all about bringing him in. If it's 1-1, it looks like
that's why I think it was 1-1. I think it was
1-1 because Partey went off at 50 minutes. It was only 2-1.
It was 2-1. Gabriel scored in the 80th. Elneny came on in the 81st, and then scored in the 85th.
See, then I'm good with that. And not only that, I would just like to point out that that I did call. You can look at the timestamps. I did call the Elneny screamer about 4 minutes before it happened. As soon as he came on, everyone was moaning.
Your DNA to believe that one.
Yeah. Well, even let's go about players making people eat their own words, Andy, because
I was frankly fucking internet, goddamn internet.
In all our WhatsApp groups yesterday, straight away everybody was on Hector Bellerin and Willian as to why they were both starting. And talk to me about both of their performances, because I think that made a lot of people eat shit yesterday.
Yeah, and you know what? Fair play to him, right? Willian has not had a great season. And to be fair to Arteta, I think Willian's performances turned around when Arteta had that press conference where he said the supporters have a right to get on his back or something along those lines, because ever since then, he's played really well. And you know what? Like, a lot's happened in the world, and we don't know how people have been affected by it, but we're starting to see Willian become the Willian that we expected at Chelsea, where he's involved in a lot of
too far.
I'm just saying he was involved in a lot of the lead-up play to
premature
goals.
Ejaculation on that. No.
I mean, that's a problem a lot of us have on the pod, but I'm saying that specific to Willian, he's the player that we've expected from him, where he's getting involved in games where he's leading to assists or he's getting the assists. So that's what we expected when we brought him in. Again, I don't see the hate in Hector Bellerin, but for all the people that do, like, I'm glad the two of them are mating everyone. They're saying, go fuck yourselves. We're good football players.
How's Bellerin doing that? He had one good game. Like, let's not get excited.
I just don't understand that. I pulled it up a couple weeks ago. I pulled it up a couple weeks ago, and if we look at Hector Bellerin versus the top 3 right backs in the league, he is fair in all of them.
He brought him in because of experience in this instance, but I think Cedric has proven that he's a really good right back. He defends better. He's a better crosser of the ball. Bellerin is one of these hot, cold guys that you love what he does off the field. So when he has one good game, you're like, you want to love Bellerin, but cut the cord. He's one of the players that's just got to go. If this team wants to evolve and grow.
Do you think that he...
Respectfully disagree.
Do you think that
Andy, do you think Bellerin's played well this season then?
It's just a free-for-all now.
Amanda, I looked at the statistics.
Respect Ian.
I looked at the statistics, and Bellerin has performed better, if not equal, to the top 3 right backs in the league.
Oh,
wow.
I'm looking at statistics. I'm looking at
Cedric
the game.
on the right. I hope Cedric's on the right on Sunday.
I mean, someone in chat is saying Bellerin's going to ruin Son and Bale.
Ruin them what?
I'd like to think he was kidding with that.
Yeah, I think Matthew's kidding.
Then it needs an emoji. I don't want to be shallow, but it needs an emoji.
He's putting himself in the shop window. Would any of you agree with that? That possibly what we're seeing is somebody who has been given the nod to say that he is free to leave the club in the summer and he's trying to impress possible suitors.
No,
absolutely. Players do that. We've seen that happen time and time again, where players play better when they need a new contract, or they start talking to the press when they need a new contract, or they start playing better because they're trying to add value to themselves in the marketplace. I mean, there's certain players, I'm sorry, but Bellerin is one of those players, as wonderful as El Neni's goal was against Olympiacos. You know, as much as I want to believe in players like Chambers, they've just been there too long. It's like, come on, if we want to move on, we've got to move on from these players. And on the show, I say Arteta's got to be given the chance at least to build a team in his image. And he's halfway there. So I've always said give him to the November. If we're in the same league position, he's got to go.
No,
at least give him a chance to buy more players in the summer or loan more players in the summer, make better decisions, get rid of the further deadwood, and then go into the new season with a complete team in his image. And if he can't galvanize that team, that will be his players entirely. And November, Arsenal is still 10th. If you're not asking questions, then I don't know.
So if I agree with you 1,000% on everything you just said, but given the relationship and what we kind of glean from the way he treats these guys, do you see Xhaka or Bellerin being moved on in the summer?
I can see Bellerin being moved on, but
Bellerin,
not
Xhaka, no.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd love to see both of them moved on, but I don't
think Xhaka's going anywhere.
I mean, no one speaks a negative word about him. So I agree
Xhaka?
with you. Yeah.
Everyone speaks a negative word about
no one within the team.
Oh, the players. Sorry, I thought you meant the fans.
Look, I think he sees him as he doesn't have too many leaders. And it's very difficult to evolve a team and lose a lot when you've got a lot that you need to put out the door. But it's hard when you don't have too many leaders. Who are your leaders? David Luiz, who's been there how long? You know, Kieran Tierney is becoming a leader. He's still young. Saka's a leader on the pitch, but he's not young to lead enough off it. Lacazette's a leader. Xhaka is a leader.
So let me ask you this, right? So if you look at the entire Arsenal squad, right, you're looking at the 25-man squad. The first person you're ripping the cord on is Hector Bellerin. Like, he's our biggest...
I never said that. No. You're just now asking that question. Don't twist it.
Right. But that's how we're phrasing it, where we say, like, we need to get rid of Hector Bellerin. Like I said on our last pod, Soph, that there are certain players like Xhaka and Luiz who have maintained their spots at Arsenal because we can't afford to replace them with the quality we need. So we look at it and we say it's easier to retain these players, extend their contracts, partly for leadership, but also because they can play at the level that we're at. That's 10th, right? We can't go ahead and say, okay, Hector Bellerin is going to get sold because, again, how much are we going to get for him? Who knows? But Hector Bellerin will more than likely go off to if he were to get sold, to a Barcelona Bayern. But yeah, I'm being told by Arsenal supporters he's not good enough.
Barcelona have Dest, right?
But
he's not going to
regardless. But regardless, like
he could
at
go
the end of the day,
to
like
PSG. Maybe he could go to
if he's going to PSG,
slow the game in. But wait, your question was the first person you're letting go is Bellerin. That wasn't the conversation. I would just say that Bellerin is a player that I would let go. Would he
understand
be the first? Would he be the first? No. You know what? the truth of Arsenal is that we need to make money in order to move the team along. These are facts.
But
right?
So then from that argument, if you're saying that, okay, so then if then you're suggesting that you make money from selling Bellerin, right?
Among others.
But fine. But if we're selling Bellerin to a PSG,
25 million, brilliant business. You know what? For a player who's a little bit broken, hasn't come back the same from injury.
Can we replace him full time with Cedric?
No.
You go buy another right back that you go find a really good deal. I mean, I would if I was Arsenal and I had a line to their scouting team, I would say, come to LA Galaxy and watch this kid, Julian Araujo. He could be your Kieran Tierney for the next 10 years on the right side of the pitch with some finesse and some training and to learn under Cedric, who pays him some respect, people. The guy's won the Euros. You know, he's a Premier League proven player. It's about time people started showing a little bit more respect. And the mediocrity acceptancy at Arsenal is ridiculous. Like, stop supporting the players that haven't been there for us over the years. It's one thing winning FA Cups. It's another thing being consistent over 30 plus games in the Premier League. So yes, we may have to sell Lacazette. He's an asset. He could go for 30 million. I'm sorry. He may have to go. Would I sell him? No. Bellerin, 25 million.
So
Maitland-Niles.
While I agree with you, this board and this ownership group have not put enough confidence in me to say that money will be reinvested correctly.
But it will, because of Edu and Arteta. And people have to be really honest about this. You know, they have been given the keys to the kingdom. They're building the team. You know, they don't let players go like that without any financial culpability in January, without the board, the executive team and the ownership believing in them. You don't just get rid of, you know, you're not going to make money on these assets. Boom, fire sale. Let's go. Let's move on. I mean, that shows you they've been given some autonomy here. And I actually, as you know, may not know, I've been very critical of Arteta, but I'll tell you something, you know, when you look at what they've done in January, I said it was our best transfer window ever because we got rid of all of the crap and the click, you know, and they have apparently been working on this summer transfer window and January for months now. And for some reason, call me crazy, I actually believe that they've identified the players that they want.
I'm with you. I'm loving what you're telling me right now because I feel the exact same way.
We hire statisticians to produce football players to our scouts. And the stats for Bellerin versus Eddie right back in the league, bar Liverpool's, he's up there.
But you're talking about, like, we've got to build for the future. We are not a now team. We are not a win now team. It is not going to happen for us for a long time. In the league, we're building a Premier League challenging.
Is 25 too old?
You know what? He's a little bit worn at Arsenal. He needs to go. We need a break. Amanda, don't you agree that we need a break from Bellerin? We need to break up.
I still can't believe that stat's true, Andy, that he's...
I know one stat that he leads the league in.
Foul throws.
See with Hector Bellerin, can I jump in there just because I think one thing is that I've realised over especially the last year or so being in the WhatsApp group with a lot of stat guys is that stats can be inflated a lot of the times as well. But what I will say is that when you're talking about, like, is Hector Bellerin the first name to go, the names that you mentioned there, David Luiz, Granit Xhaka, Alexander Lacazette, there's definitely negatives to them, but there's also a lot of positives with those guys. You know, even though they are prone to making mistakes, a lot of games they're arguably our best players on you know, at different times. Yes, they dip in form, they make mistakes every now and then. Hector Bellerin is just consistently vanilla. He's not very good defensively, and he's not very good at going forward. For me, he's just not an asset. You know, he doesn't. Now, Andy, look at the other side. That's a proper fullback. That's somebody who can defend and attack. When I look at Hector Bellerin, and I mentioned a while ago as well that I see him struggling with the fundamentals of football. Yes, I think he was fantastic last night. Arguably the best, if not the best, the second best player on that pitch. But that's once, twice a season from the guy. You know, you don't get it on a week in, week out basis. And unfortunately, you can't operate through an entire season with someone who only shows up once every 20 odd games.
Listen, we're in a roundabout, but our fucking fan base. Jesus Christ. I just can't anymore. I
Let's
just
turn it on the
can't
fan
anymore.
Let's start on the fan base.
You're entitled to your opinion, Andy. If you rate Bellerin, that's up to you. But
No. But Amanda, I'm not saying that Bellerin.
But we're allowed to call
I'm
you
not
a
throwing the
douche.
world at Bellerin. But what I'm saying is like the comment before was like we have to cut players like this, and we're not a club that can do that. We're not a club that can sell him for $25 million and then say like we're going to reimburse or we're going to buy another player to replace him for $25 million. That $25 million gets spent on 2 players, and as Soph said, if we want to cut the cord because he just hasn't proven enough at the club, fair enough. But we have a fan base that wants to compete for Champions League and titles. We don't have a fan base that's going to allow this ownership group or this management group, Edu and Arteta, to buy a young right back from LA Galaxy, no matter how good he is. We have a fan base who go, let's sell Bellerin and buy Max Aaron.
It's different, Andy. That's how. Listen, these guys have the opportunity to change the culture of the club. We are not the same Arsenal. This is Arsenal 2.0 now. We're going into a completely different time and era. But hold on a second. You have to be ready in order for Arsenal to move on and really become a Premier League competitive team again. We've got to move on. And as fans, we're attached to players. I am so dead against this whole nonsense about bringing Ramsey back. Stop the madness. This is not how you evolve. This is not how you change a culture, build your legacy. Like,
so I get that, but we are not that team anymore. We are at best challenging for Europa League. That's the team.
But Andy, that doesn't mean that you can't do that.
It does
within our way. Leicester have done it on their level. West Ham have done it off their level. Wolves did it on their level. We're doing it on our level. You're talking about going out and buying $30 million players. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying rebuild a team that Arteta, they're his guys that he believes in.
And I want that to happen, but it's not going to.
But you're being why are you being negative about it?
Because we haven't seen enough.
And I'm not a big Arteta fan, but why are you being negative about before he's been even given the opportunity to fulfill the circle? Why?
Because again, we are re-signing players like Pablo Mari, Cedric, Luis, because they are the caliber of players that fit into Arsenal in this moment, right? And we don't have the fan base, we don't have the ownership group that look at buying these young players and saying, okay, let's go ahead and bring them forward, because that's just not how it works. That's not
true. Maitland-Niles has been given a chance. Willock's been given a chance. Reece Nelson. They've all had their opportunity to shine. Some of them aren't as good as ESR and Saka. That's the reality. Not everyone is going to be quality enough to build.
No, and I'm saying those players shouldn't be in our first team. They're not good enough. But what I am back to my point, right, is that if you're going to argue that Bellerin needs to leave, then we need to have a plan to bring in someone to replace him, and that's not Cedric.
Why is it not Cedric? I quite like him.
I like Cedric. He's played very well. He just has the track record that he cannot do 38 matches in a season. Plus
you can't say that. He's at a different club now, Andy. You can't say that. You can't judge him on.
Sure, you can. If you're telling me I can't judge Bellerin off of his statistics, then I can't judge Cedric off of the fact that he
hasn't played for us for a whole season. He's played for another club.
I'm saying he's injury prone. Like his whole career, we've seen injuries.
Do you think that we would be substantially?
I would go out and buy a new right back. Sorry.
Do you think that we would be substantially worse off, Andy, playing Cedric over a 10-game period than a Hector Bellerin over a 10-game period?
I think both players complement Arsenal very well. I think both players. And this is what you want in a squad, right? So said, if you're going to go and replace, you need to replace with complementary players that can play well against one team versus another. Hector Bellerin will play better when he has someone in front of him that isn't Pepe, because Pepe won't track back, right?
It's amazing, though, how well Pepe plays with Cedric and how well he plays with Maitland-Niles. Right. No, but they're better quality going back, so Pepe has more freedom in terms of...
So can I ask you a question then? On the right, Andy, on the right, would you rather have Bellerin or Pepe?
Like in an attacking sense?
No, because if Bellerin can't play with Pepe, but Pepe can play with Cedric, who are you going to have?
I don't rate Pepe at all. I think he's fucking awful.
Oh my God.
I do.
He went on a 3-month hiatus from the podcast, and he came back as
He's like feisty.
my God, I've never seen this guy
right.
before, and I'm married to him.
Trust me, Kieran Tierney
It's
is
what
like
the
next
Highbury
level,
Squad,
right?
the effect we have on people.
Tierney is absolutely next level. There's no argument there. We're all going to agree on that. But his job is made a lot easier when Saka's on the left, because Saka has that mentality to track back and has that mentality to say, like, I will drop if I see him go forward. Pepe doesn't have that. So regardless of who plays behind Pepe, he's always going to leave that person in danger if they track forward. It's just natural for Pepe. He doesn't have that in his mindset, right? So it's apples and oranges. We're in a roundabout. We've got goals. Let's go to the positive stuff. Owen, I appreciate you text us saying, hey guys, I'm going to go negative, so you'll argue. You got what you wanted. Let's move on.
It just went down that, man. It just went down that. It's natural. Mike, I know you want to do some shots.
I've been waiting to take an Ouzo shot when we.
You don't have to wait, man. You can just take your. What age are you? Like 50?
I would never have an Ouzo shot. I hate that stuff. It's disgusting.
Well, yeah. I should have asked you that before I went involved.
I mean, I warned you. I told you not to go down that route. I told you to get retina.
Well, a lot of people have warned me to not go down a lot of routes.
Here's actually a good one. All right. So the Gabriel goal, Mike, you can take a shot whenever you want through this. I'm not sure what sort of trigger you're waiting on or setup that I'm supposed to do for you. So
no, there's no trigger.
The Gabriel goal.
Shot, he is now drunk.
Yes. The Gabriel goal, the Gabriel goal, right? Obviously a fantastic header, but something that I was thinking about in the wake of that goal, and it's happened on a number of occasions. I think it was the last Europa League game against Benfica. Sophie, I would have asked you this, Mike, but you look like you're having a baby.
I
Sophie,
always look like I'm having a baby. It just never comes out.
The VAR. It really takes away from those big special moments now, because I remember pre-VAR, I would have been jumping around this living room, but my arse barely even left the seat because I knew what was coming. Is it destroying the soul and the heart of the game as a fan?
I think this season, the mistakes that have happened, even with VAR, have sucked the life out of fans. And even players themselves have talked about not being able to celebrate organically. It's changed. So I'm going to spin this back to all of you guys. Would you rather be arguing about it at the pub without the 50-50 opportunity of maybe getting the decision right or wrong with new technology, or just go back to the way it was and be at the pub 5 pints in, screaming at each other about how we got robbed over and over again?
But we get robbed on VAR anyway.
But let's be honest, we've also benefited from VAR
a couple of times. Yeah, no, I'd get rid completely and utterly. I'm with Owen. I sit there sometimes and I go like that. We've scored, and then I have to go. I'm looking around, going VAR. Well,
even that Gabriel goal went to VAR, right?
Yeah,
but it took a lot longer than it should have. That was ridiculous.
I think part and parcel of it as well was the fact that there was a potential head injury, which slowed the ref making his decision clear. That I think that was part of it too. But for me, I would much rather strip it back and go back to the bare bones of it, because for me, yes, decisions go wrong for teams. We've seen it over the years, and they're all famous talking points. But I think it naturally equals itself out over the course of the season.
Swings and roundabouts.
Yeah, exactly. You get some, you don't, and it will eventually equal out. Whereas
I think what will help is in MLS, right? When a VAR issue comes up, you can hear the conversation between the referee and the VAR team, and it enhances the game tenfold. And as a fan, you're immersed not only in like a new technology, almost virtual reality kind of way, you're being taken into the game, but it leaves no doubt to anybody what the issue is. And I think part of how they've benefited this season from VAR is there's no fans in the stadium. Could you imagine being at any stadium this season with some of these mistakes and some of this bull crap that's been going on, and fans not being able to even hear or be told what's happening? You know, the international fan's great. The turnstile fan is a secondary thought now, and VAR doesn't help that. Even in the NFL, the referee has a mic. He's,
What does Vinny think about Vieira?
we just ordered some enchiladas and tacos, so Vinny Vieira's like smelling it. I'll put him on mute.
The only thing is that they also in the MLS let off fireworks when players score and play SEDC through the stadium. So it's for me, I
know
don't
what they used to
want
do here, Owen, and in Colorado, they used to have a huge Arsenal flag with a cannon, and then after the goal went in, they would light the cannon. Right, obviously there'd be a big bang. But it wasn't like goal and within 30 seconds the bang would come. It was like goal and then anywhere within 3 minutes. And so it scared the living shit out of you because you never knew when it was coming.
I remember,
and then they stopped scoring goals, so they just became obsolete anyway.
I remember watching Stevie Gerrard.
So maybe someone died of a heart attack.
I remember watching Stevie Gerrard play for LA Galaxy, and he scored an absolute screamer, and the fucking music started, and the confetti guns went off, and there was confetti all over and he just looked like he absolutely fucking hated it, man. You could tell it was so against it. But
he did not have a good time in LA. I remember being in the locker room after a game, and I was asking a question, and he heard my accent, and he's like, "Oh," he goes, "Are you from England?" And I said, "Yes." And you're really not allowed to talk to players unless you're interviewing them in the locker room. And I'm like, can't ignore Steven Gerrard. So I said, "Yeah, I am." He goes, "Oh," he goes, "How long have you lived here?" And I told him. And then he said, because it's Sunday, he goes, "Do you miss Sunday roasts?" And I really felt for him. I was like, oh my God, I just want to cook him a Sunday roast.
Ian loved it there, right? But Gerrard just never really adapted. And
I mean, he was injured when he was here too.
Like, so. But that really says a lot about a person that they don't like LA, but they live in Glasgow. Dodgy fucking character, that guy. Anyway, we'll move on.
I kind of like Glasgow. Well, maybe I like the area of Loch Lomond, which is... Am I thinking of Glasgow? Or is Loch Lomond out of Edinburgh? No, it's out of Glasgow. Loch Lomond, like an hour and a bit. Anyway.
It's a lovely place if you've got an Asbo. If you've got an Asbo and 3 teeth. What was going to say? The North London...
Mike could fit in there then, wouldn't he?
The North London derby, Amanda. I talked about it earlier, saying that I don't think that we have the resources to commit fully to 2 competitions at this stage with how heavy the competition's getting, especially with the running of our fixture list coming in over the next couple of weeks in the Premier League. But how big is the North London derby to Arsenal this season? We've seen Spurs almost flourish and then come down a few pegs as well. But how big is it for Arsenal in such a terrible season to get those bragging rights over?
As big as big.
As big as big.
Every single time you play that lot down the road, it's massive, Ian. It's massive, and that's that. Every team is playing 3 or 4 days now. It's not great. It's massive. You're never, ever going to look at a match unless we were in the Champions League final 2 or 3 days later and look at it and go, no, we can't do this. It's massive. Ian. Is it Ian? Owen.
They always call me fucking Ian. They always do.
Owen. I got it right. It's massive. Seriously, if any Gooner sits here and says it's not, then you're not a Gooner.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Mike, looking at the type of lineup that we put out against Olympiakos, I'm not even going to do the pronunciation. I know I lived in Greece for a while, but I'm Irish. Let me off with it. With how strong of a lineup we put out against Olympiakos, Mike, and with the result that we walked away with from there, would you rotate heavily going into this, or would you really put out sort of as strong as possible lineup? Or
would I rotate going into Sunday?
Yeah.
No. What we've earned finally for once is the ability to not have to think about next Thursday.
But with our history, this is what I will say, with our history of falling at the big hurdles with that game next week, again, the reverse fixture against Olympiacos, would you be risking our big players?
Yes, I would. Yeah, because it's Spurs, because it's everything that we need to galvanize this team together. A loss against Spurs or dropping points because of not putting our best foot forward will make us more likely to go out on Thursday more than.
And let me tell you something else as well, Mike. Arteta won't be forgiven if he does that.
No. The pressure on him if we start, players that aren't first choice players, and again, the difference between our first 11, I mean, other than maybe 5 people, the other 6, the difference between first team and second team is really kind of blurred at this point. We don't know, because if our first team was yesterday, if our best team was yesterday, then Willian and Xhaka and Bellerin and that's our first team, and Odegaard versus the alternative. So no, I go all guns blazing on Sunday, because as much as I understand what our history is, and as much as I understand that this tie in England in Europe is not over yet, we have people that can play 90 on Thursday. Chambers, Smith Rowe, Lacazette, Pepe, that didn't play at all on Thursday or barely played on Thursday, came in late, and see that game away to the point where we don't give up 3. I mean, we've given up 3 goals. We've shit the bed and given up 3 goals maybe twice this season. Villa, maybe Manchester City. I don't even remember. But that's our strength this season, has been able to avoid losing by 3 clear goals. And I don't think we'll have a problem doing that at home against Olympiacos next week, even if some of the players that are playing are getting their first minutes in a while. So, no, Sunday is everything at this point, and I'm glad that getting those 3 away goals yesterday was so vital to being able to not even have the specter of next Thursday on our minds this weekend. It's all about Spurs this weekend.
Can you define big players? Just so I understand.
Key players to the system, the likes of, even though I do think he was responsible for 2 goals of late, Birdlano, arguably David Luiz, Kieran Tierney, Thomas Partey, Martin Odegaard.
Would you play David Luiz against Spurs, or would you play Gabriel and Pablo Mari, or Holding? Would you bring Holding?
I'd bring back Holding. Holding has the ability to show up for big matches.
I do Mari and Holding against Spurs, and then Gabriel and Luiz again on Thursday. I would rest Kieran Tierney on Thursday.
Yeah.
But God damn, he's got to start.
Sunday. He's got to start against Spurs. Yeah.
We've got to have our strongest 11 out.
I would rest.
What is that, PG?
It's our strongest 11. What he thinks.
What is our strongest 11? So,
for instance, 11? I'd play Lacazette on Sunday
through the middle and Ober on the left.
Yeah, I would. That's exactly what I would do.
That's a really underused combination of late, isn't it? One that Arteta really favoured, and I think that maybe a lot of people would have called for that, maybe over the option of playing Willian.
Exactly what Matthew just said. I
love this comment.
Mm-hmm. So it really is, absolutely. We need Lacazette up there.
Well, because he holds the ball better than anyone. And
maybe there's a reason he's been rested, dropped, whatever it is you want to call it. But at the end of the day, Owen, he has to play his strongest 11, whatever that is.
Can I just defend myself here as well? Because I'm taking a lot of shit in the chat tonight. Fuck you.
Because you're being fucking negative Nancy, that's why.
No, man, I just have to ask.
You made Sophie and I argue with each other.
Do you ever notice I get angry when you turn up? Man, we're trying to form like a friendship here, the 2 of us, and you keep fucking propping your ugly little head back up.
Turning up.
Yeah.
How dare you, Andy,
don't talk to Mike like that. It's his birthday.
Well, here, I'll put this to you, Andy. Sunday or Thursday, do you expect to see Gabriel Martinelli prop his ugly little head up as well?
I hope so. But if I were going to play Gabriel Martinelli, it would be on Thursday, right? I would rest Saka, put him on the bench, and put him out on Thursday. It's the perfect match. They're going to be chasing it, which allows us to counterattack, where he's brilliant. I was about to say, and again, I'm being very negative today, which is unlike me. Oh, Merlin Mike's out. Merlin Mike. And I know Merlot's not white, Mike.
Glad you're admitting it now, Andy.
No, what I was going to say, and I'm being super negative, which is unlike me, but I don't have faith in this squad, no matter 11. Jesus Christ. What strongest 11 plays. I don't have faith that we will secure the result on Monday, because we just don't have that mental capacity.
We're not playing Monday.
Sorry, Sunday.
Monday.
Oh, don't scare my schedule like that. I'm like,
he lives in Australia now.
We don't have the mental capacity to play a team like Tottenham and just put them away.
That's unfair considering that we've come back from behind 3 times in the last how long and overcome some adversity. And when you're playing in a derby, it is a little bit different. So you are still being a negative Nelly, you're being a realist. You're being a realist is what you're being. Because on paper, look, we've got the pressure's not on us.
We can disagree on.
Can you get
we can disagree on Bellerin, but we can agree on me being a negative Nancy.
I think you should get vaccinated for having a stick up your ass right now. You need a vaccine for it.
We are not the team under pressure. They are. They're the darlings. They're the ones who are still fighting for a top 4 spot, apparently. You know, the pressure is on Arteta to get a win here. I don't think there's pressure on Arsenal to get the 3 points at all. I really don't. I think the Europa League is where our sword will fall this season. If we lose to Tottenham, most people will be like, okay, they expected it. But if we beat them, that sends an entirely different message, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it would definitely be good bragging rights in a season that we haven't had many of. But just before we get your predictions, guys, we're going to do about 15 minutes of questions from the chat. But before we go to them, predictions, guys, for the North London derby. Mike, we'll start with you because you're the special birthday boy.
Oh, thank you so much, my son. I just did a podcast before this, and I predicted a 3-1 loss. But you have to understand the context, which is, you know what happens when I predict that we're going to win. You know what happens. I tried for a while. Amanda and I were both predicting 2-2s for a while. You know, some of the Desmonds, and I think it actually started to work. So I'm going 3-1 to Spurs, but you got to understand the subtext behind that, and then you won't think that I'm as negative as like the Andes of the world.
This has been the most depressing birthday I've ever been to. Like everybody was so pissed off. And
I gotta say, today, my birthday last year sucked because basically it started at 1 o'clock in the morning, getting on the internet, having to change my flight home from England to try to like get back in before they closed the borders, which at the time I thought
I saw you, didn't I? A couple of days before.
You did. It's yeah. Congratulations.
Lucky girl.
and I thought that last year being hungover on a plane, fleeing home from England 2 weeks before was bad. Today has been a shit day from every perspective of work and otherwise, with the exception of
us.
Of the Gooner family and the rest of my friends and family around the world. All the birthday wishes have been amazing. So it's lifted me up. I'm feeling more positive, but not about the game on Sunday. But I'm still going to go 3-1. But I did want to make sure before I forgot to thank everybody that's reached out on Facebook and Twitter and you know, people have been sending me TikToks. No, but it's really kind of cool to know how many people my life is.
Happy birthday!
We literally only asked for
Groban should kick.
Yeah, you only asked for a prediction.
We
right?
only asked for a score prediction.
I know. He's Jewish. Honestly, we'll be here all night if you ask him. Just
I don't know. I watch the Highbury Squad sometimes, and it's 30 minutes of really good content, and then 30 minutes of just cavelling over how wonderful Arsenal family is.
Can I make it?
Don't be ridiculous. No one's even going to know what cavelling means.
Wait, now that's funny, Sophie. That is exactly what I was going to come on to there. I plead with you to please reconsider your name for your fans.
We didn't
for your
come out with
members.
it. They came up with it.
Yeah, please change it because if I go around telling people where I'm from, that I'm a squatty, my kneecaps will be hanging out the back of my legs within 10 minutes.
We've got your we'll protect you, don't worry.
Don't worry.
Cheers, girls.
You can say you're a special squaddy.
Yeah.
I was thinking of the squatty potty, which I bought very early on. It doesn't work. And that's what I think of now. So
right.
Google squatty potty.
Michael, no one even knows what cavelling means. Okay.
They will.
Andy, score prediction.
Except me.
Where's the Greek part of this, by the way? I mean, έχω έρθει η Παρασκευή νύχτα και πού είναι το κέφι της Ελλάδας? Έλα, μωρή.
Exactly.
My
If you say
prediction.
so.
So I'm gonna say 2-0 Spurs. I don't think again we have the mental capacity. You guys, do you know the last time we beat Spurs?
1954.
December 2nd, 2018.
18.
That was the Torreira game.
And then before then, like there hasn't been a lot. Only like 3 wins since 2015. For some reason, they're just everyone says banana skin was
For
like
some reason, I think we know what's been happening.
So I'm gonna say 2-0 Spurs, and I'm only saying that because I don't feel the mental capacity of our players is there.
I'm going 2-1 win, which is what I predicted a couple of hours ago.
Oh, positive Amanda.
I know, but I'm sorry.
Let's celebrate Amanda's the prediction.
Hoppa! I don't know what it means, but
Do you want to know? I was a dishy in a restaurant in Greece, and we had a Greek wedding, and that's when I found out that Greek people fucking smash plates all the time, so you have to clean, and they don't clean up after. That's the worst part.
Nah, just
That was the biggest tourist trap in Athens that we went into. But we're like, I gotta have my.
Oh my god, it's so good. Do you want to hear something really funny, real quick? I'll take 10 seconds. So Tony's 50th, we did it in the backyard. We had this spectacular party. It was so awesome. My cousin's here from England. She likes to use the C word a lot and the W word a lot, and so she's got all these Americans, you know, using the C word and the W word, and then comes out to some dancing, and we had a set of plates to be used for that, and you know, long story short, the evening goes, the next morning I wake up, I look in the cabinet, and she took all of our vintage plates.
Oh no!
And smashed every single one in a drunken moment.
Oh my god!
Plates we'd collected from all around the world.
My mother would have had a heart attack.
And to this day, Amanda, I still find in the crevices of the backyard every now and again it'll be like, oh my god, that plate from Shanghai, you know.
My favorite part of that story is about how Owen said that we were going to answer user questions and we're not going to get to a single fucking one of them.
Come on, let's answer a question.
Okay.
What have we got to answer?
Soph's got to do her prediction, right?
Oh,
2-2.
Can I have 2 different predictions? One from our pod and one for your pod?
No. He's going 2-1.
Only if you want to be called a flip-flopper by the
2-2. Dos. Dio.
Dorsey.
I agree with that.
This is my prediction.
Am I the only one going for a win? That's very unusual.
I hope you win, Amanda. Come on.
I know.
This is my other prediction. What's going to happen?
What do you think of Tottenham?
Yeah, we're gonna shit them out.
The fuck?
It's like a really bad episode of
Friends.
Not Seinfeld or Friends, because that's real, like, you know. I mean,
Prison Break.
Maybe.
I don't know. I've been waiting for
Alf.
I've been waiting for the appropriate time to play that, and
There never is an appropriate time to play it.
Well, I still haven't found it. You know,
exactly.
That's me doing child.
Does anyone want to ask Michael a question from the chat room, because it's his birthday? Michael.
How do you spell Michael, by the way? Is it Mykoo?
No.
We need to wrap this shit up. I gotta go pick up my son. Let's go.
We do need to wrap this shit
up.
Wants
me to
5 more minutes.
Name Sokratis Papastadopoulos.
5 more minutes. Okay, Mike, I have a question for you. Why do you have all these terrible videos of Jake doing things that you've made him do? Shouldn't child services have been called already?
Because he's a good boy. He's a good boy.
I told you guys.
And
one
further
shot of
evidence
Ouzo and the dude's drunk. Look at him. He's a good boy.
Further evidence, Mike, if you go back to your plate smashing picture or video, he even looks at you for approval before he does it. Nobody else does that.
It's actually a look of fear. Like, Matt, do I do this?
He wanted to have
what happens if I don't do this? Like
I have the shot
Did none
collar
of you
on. He's
think
like,
we
I'm not-
could win on Sunday?
Yesterday, I FaceTimed Mike to
I
ask
think
him
we
something.
could, but I'm not going on record with that shit.
You're not
and-
fucking it, babe.
Guys, yesterday I FaceTimed Mike for something personal, and Jake walked past him, and Mike was facing the camera, and even Jake walking past, he flinched because he didn't know if he was going to get hit or not.
Stop with that shit. And yes, I told you yesterday, the creams don't work.
They don't. They
Do
don't.
not work. Just go to a doctor.
Oh
already, okay?
my god!
You said that anything that was down that region, I had to call you first on FaceTime.
Well, that's our contract. That's what we agreed when we started this stupid thing 5 years ago.
Reg,
Well, moving on.
Where is
swiftly.
this going exactly?
I
Where
have
is
no idea.
this
It's like
is-
a shit show.
Oh, Mike, they're big and mighty because they haven't had itches, you know?
All right. Let me try
like
this.
real itches? Like,
It's not at the moment.
I
Let's,
mean, we could get into
Get
that
that-
shit if you
Yeah,
want.
get that checked out, Andy.
that's where we do the other the supplementary podcast, your body and you.
Yeah.
But look,
Your
let's
nether
start turning-
regions.
Let's
and
start
Mike.
turning this around. As I do, sometimes I get sappy, and I've said it a million
Christ,
times.
here we go again.
I'll say it another million times. Fuck yous, Andy. No.
He's drunk,
So-
guys.
So no, I'm not. Look, I've podcasted drunk before, as you know, and this is not the quality that you get from me.
I just want to ask you a question, actually, Michael. Are
Okay.
you ever not drunk?
Yes, 155 hours out of every week I'm not drunk, but I podcast the other 13 hours, and that's what you see.
Fine.
So, Amanda, you guys are doing some crazy stuff right now. Crazy good. I love
Yeah,
your
we're on
podcast.
here. That's what's.
Well, most of it doesn't involve you, Amanda. It's mostly Soph, but I'm trying to be nice. But guys, watch the Highbury Squad. It's a great community. They're working their ass off at putting together good content. I'm just working like part of my ass off, and the three of us on ours. But like, it's good. It's really, really good stuff. I'm glad that you joined us for my birthday tonight, and for Andy's birthday, which was 2 days ago, and no one's talking about how old he looks.
How old are you, Andy?
38.
Yeah, I got 10 years on his ass.
Well, 38, so you're not even 40 yet.
He's
How
a
old-
fetus.
How old are you, Owen?
28. We
Oh
go.
my god!
10
I'm nearly
years.
double your age.
I could be your mother.
Oh, I could be your mother. I've said that about 3 times today.
I have a question for Soph.
I've fantasized over that a lot, actually.
It's what? That she's breastfeeding Owen?
Oh my!
You don't need
God.
to. You don't need to fully understand my
Wow,
kink.
it's
You
been a
just
long
need to
week.
understand that.
Yeah.
I know. I look.
I have a
tired, but
question
mean,
for
it's
Soph,
knackered.
and then I think we can wrap it up, right? It's 3:13 in LA. How many chimneys do you sweep before the end of the day?
Oh.
Listen, me old sucker, don't you take the piss out of me because I'll have your guts for garters, you little prick. Hey?
I almost spit it out, man. I almost spit it out. Was what she said, but
It's called fashion, all right? It's got the vintage suede jacket. You got the Burberry scarf here. You got the old Curiosity killed the cat. Lost on you, but Amanda knows exactly what I'm bloody talking about.
Amanda's so angry right now. She's like, I just want to go to bed.
I do. I am so tired. I've been up since silly o'clock. Long week, but
So
it's been
is-
lovely.
Have you got a
Sophie's,
chance to eat your sausage sandwich yet?
I'm glad Kev Campbell didn't stick around because
Then
I
don't
don't.
feel sorry for you.
I think he left at the right moment. To be honest with
Yeah.
What,
Yeah.
at the start?
you. Yeah. The only better decision. The
At
only
Kev
better
knew.
decision that Kevin Campbell could have made tonight was to not come on in the first place. But
Yeah.
considering
Listen,
that he did,
isn't it nice just after a week of like a lot of work and seriousness to just be like, you know, I don't know, like a reality TV show? I mean, we watch those people. Why can't we just have our moment
We
where
just
we're
like
just
the Waltons. That's
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
It's
Brady
okay.
Bunch.
you both
Yeah.
this rose.
Had such high hopes for this podcast too. It was like there's so many professionals here. It's just going to run itself. It's going to be so smooth. I think me and Mike even talked about this. It's been anything but really.
Sorry, now
Owen,
now I'm
Owen's
picturing Mike in a tuxedo
I
giving
love the-
Amanda a rose.
I
and
love the
Amanda,
fact that you think we're professional.
Owen's like texting
Well,
me.
I
right?
am. Speak for yourself, PG. Crying out loud.
I'm sitting down. I'm sitting down for a nap.
What
I'm
is
lying
that
down
around
for a
his
nap.
neck?
Owen's like, "Can you carry the show tonight? I got work right up until showtime." And I'm like, "No, I'm taking a nap. It's my birthday, and I'm in a shitty mood. Can you carry it tonight?" And I'm like, "What do you mean carry it? None of us carry anything."
I love how no one reaches out to me and says, "Hey, can you help?"
Now someone's calling me Mike Bassett in chat. I've had Steptoe and Son and Mike Bassett. This has been a
that's
stellar night on this show.
such a
Thanks
show.
for having us.
That
Oh
is
my
such a
God.
show.
Yeah,
We love your
coming up-
we love your audience.
If anyone wants to come on the Gooners podcast, you better have a thick skin because you're going to be called all sorts of things. Thank you all for joining us. I'm glad that we beat the Olympiakos Sunday.
We're gonna beat Tottenham.
For my birthday, please let that happen. If it happens, I'll probably be on 91 podcasts, drunk and celebratory. And if we lose, I won't be on any. So maybe you actually might root for a loss. But in any case, thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Soph. Thank you, Owen. Thank you, Andy. Even though you've got some amazing stick up your ass today, I love that stick and I love your ass. So,
oh my God,
Greek stick. It's my anniversary too on the North London Derby day. So pray for Tony. Everybody pray.
For Tony. We're
Happy
praying for
anniversary.
Tony.
Thank you.
Yeah. How many years?
I'll get my man to light a
18
candle.
years.
Oh my
18.
God, she deserves a medal. Oh.
Oh, God,
night.
we've had it all tonight. Good night, boys.
good night. Come on, you. Come on, you Gooners.